Welcomes you to Neverland from Steven Spielberg's new movie, Hook, where you'll find a never tree and where there's...
Never food!
There's never food.
Look, it's snowing!
So in the spirit of the season, McDonald's is offering something special. McDonald's gift certificates in $5 books, good for everyone's favorite food. And they all ate happily ever after.
From director Steven Spielberg, Academy Award nominee Robin Williams, Academy Award winner Dustin Hoffman, Pretty Woman's Julia Roberts, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit's Bob Hoskins in the fantasy destined to become an American classic, Hook.
Hook is a 1991 American fantasy adventure film directed by Steven Spielberg and written by James V. Hart and Malaya Scotch-Barmo. It stars Robin Williams as Peter Banning, Peter Pan, Dustin Hoffman as Captain Hook, and Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell, Bob Hoskins as Mr. Smee, Maggie Smith as Granny Wendy, and Charlie Cosmo as Jack Bannon. It serves as a sequel in a modern-day setting to J.M. Barrie's 1911 novel Peter and Wendy, focusing on an adult Peter Pan who has forgotten his childhood due to his high-powered lifestyle.
追っかけっこをしているうちに僕はとんでもないところに連れて行かれた。
Hey! Who's there?
でもそれはスピルバーグ監督が撮っていた映画だったんだ。It's a movie.
ソニーの夢が映画になりました。スティーブン・スピルバーグ監督、フック。新しいソニーが始まっています。
It's a Sony.
Director Steven Spielberg is joined by Dustin Hoffman, Robin Williams, Julia Roberts, and Bob Hoskins to create the epic fantasy adventure, Hook. Inspired by author J.M. Barrie's classic 1904 stage play, Peter Pan, Hook is the all-new story of Peter as a grown man with no memory of who he once was.
Peter, don't you know who you are?
Peter Banning is a man who's forgotten how to enjoy his life. He's a man who has no imagination. And the twist on this story is he once had imagination personified. He once was the imagination, being the Pan, when he was 13 years old. When he came and he grew up, he lost his imagination and he became sort of a face in the crowd. And his kids are kidnapped by Captain Hook and taken to Neverland.
He's come back to seek his revenge.
Have to fly. Have to fight. Have to save Maggie. Have to save Jack. Okay, he's back. Who?
Well, this fantastical world suddenly intrudes into your real world, takes your children and goes away. And then you're told that no, if you want them back, you have to become Peter Pan. Snap! Have them! This is, the beginning. And it's like an exorcism. He has to kind of get back and bring out this little boy that he's buried for 20-some-odd years.
Let's fly!
Oh my God, where are we going? To Never Neverland.
Where? Returning to the long-forgotten world of his youth, Peter is forced to confront his old nemesis, the vengeful Captain Hook.
Hello, children. Comfy?
Those are my kids! Those are my kids!
I think that what mortally wounds Hook in the first scene he has with Peter Banning is the fact that there's very little difference anymore between Captain Hook and Peter Pan. That Peter Pan became Peter Banning, who grew up to become Captain Hook. And I think that really hurts Hook a lot.
Is it you? My great and worthy opponent? But it can't be. Not as pitiful.
There's something admirable about Hook, and therefore dimensional, because at least Hook doesn't kill him outright. He says, oh, so you're Peter Pan. He says, but you're not the Peter Pan I knew. It's not fulfilling to kill Peter Banning. It's fulfilling to kill Peter Pan.
You promised people the war of the century. Mortal Kombat, glory. Hulk versus Pan! 1 week and I'll get him in shape. And you can have your dirty old war.
2 days.
4. Bare minimum for a decent Pan.
3. Final offer.
Guided by Tinkerbell, Peter's journey takes him through the magical world of Neverland.
She has to protect Peter from Neverland in a way, because it's a bit shocking and sort of reacquainting the Lost Boys with Peter Pan and Peter Pan with the Lost Boys.
Kill the lion!
The life in Neverland is just sort of this fantastic chaos all the time. Everybody just sort of goes along with their day, running around and you see Neverland. It's like an amusement park.
Help me! Help me! Not you! Not you!
Cut! Robin, it's great, we got it. Print that one.
To create Neverland, some of the largest sets ever designed were constructed on a number of sound stages at Sony Studios in Culver City. After 6 months' work, Pirate Town, Hook's Galleon, and the rest of Neverland were ready for filming.
The sets themselves were so, as elaborate and as crazy as they looked, and as big at such a scale, there's something kind of very, I don't know, very real and very human about it, too. The town had such sense of detail that it didn't look like a set, it looked like a town.
People spend hours and days carving out a thing like this and the meticulousness of everything. I mean, you have a whole soundstage going up that high, and you have a ship that big, and you go to the next soundstage, and you got Neverland, then you go to the other place, you got another piece of Neverland. I mean, it is magic, and no one had ever seen the likes of it.
In addition to the sprawling stages of Neverland, detailed oversized set pieces were created to place Tinkerbell in proper perspective.
All the oversized sets were great. I mean, you know, I'd be on a table, a huge table with vegetables so big that I looked really tiny. And I told Steven he would have saved a lot of money if he'd hired a shorter actress, but he didn't, so.
Real slow, ready? And.
To prepare for Hook's climactic showdown, stars Hoffman and Williams spent months rehearsing their sword fighting. And when cameras finally rolled, they found themselves caught up in the excitement of the battle.
I loved it. That's where you get to be a little kid again. You're fighting pirates. As we went on, it just got to be more and more fun. And by the end, it was literally like, come on! Come on! And they said at the end they wanted to kind of stop for fear that I really would kind of start like, break out. Because it was a blast. It was, I started thinking about it, and I get like, my eyes get like, and I get that, it's legalized mayhem.
It's a juggling act because it has so many different levels. We have huge sets, we have special effects, but this isn't really a movie about sets and battles and special effects and believing that Tink can fly and believing that Peter can fly and things like that. You know, this is sort of a story about close-ups. This is a story about Peter and Hook and Peter's family. And in that sense, there's an intimacy and there's a tenderness in a lot of this movie.
Peter Pan's my dad.
Peter Banning, le Mr. Hyde de Peter Pan, le vilain monsieur adulte, redeviendra grâce à Clochette le Peter Pan de notre enfance.
Stay tuned for the making of Hook.
Et puis encore grâce à la bande à Spielberg, considéré comme le Wonder Boy par le gratin d'Hollywood. Kathleen Kennedy, Frank Marshall, les producteurs, Dustin Hoffman, Julia Roberts, John Williams pour la musique. Et pour quelques dollars de plus, cette entreprise démesurée projette de devenir un film culte. Enfin, peut-être, et s'engage pour 7 mois de production survoltée, un record. Des effets spéciaux dans tous les coins, prononcés Special Effects, et surtout une consigne absolue, rien. Rigoureusement rien ne doit filtrer de ce tournage. Tournage mieux protégé que Fort Knox ou le siège de la CIA, radar sur les toits de la Columbia, triple filtrage à l'entrée des studios, l'hypertechnologie s'exprime au service d'un secret. Seuls les indispensables pénètrent dans le sanctuaire des magiciens. Malgré toutes ces difficultés, vous assisterez au tournage d'un vrai fêlé de cinéma.
Welcome to Pirate Town.
It's really one of the, I guess, most personal, stories that I think I've been able to tell, all to the credit of, J.M. Barrie.
And action.
Good morning, Neverland. Good morning, Mr. Lee. Tie down the mainmast, mateys, because here he is. The cunning kingfish, the bag barracuda, the sleaziest sleaze of the 7 seas, and the ship's dresser too. In James Hook!
Thank you, you stupid parasitic sacks of entrails.
They're having a good time. They're having a good time. That's right. They have no responsibility except show up, get paid, and be pirates.
Gary, what?
But no, I mean, I'm having a great time. Who wouldn't have a great time on sets like these with a pirate ship, and costumes like this, and people like Robin and Dustin, and Bob and Julia and Maggie Smith. I mean, it's just been a great cast, and it's been great fun. But it's been the hardest movie I've made in 12 years. I haven't made a movie this hard since the 70s. For one thing, I haven't made a movie since the 70s. It's gone over 80 days. So all my films in the 80s have been under 80 days, and suddenly here comes Hook, and we'll be about 120 days by the time we wrap. So it's a long haul.
The most important thing was to tell the story. Everything about the movie, I mean, all the effects are amazing and the sets are incredible, but if the story doesn't work, it doesn't matter. If you don't connect with the characters and follow them through this incredible journey, you've made a very expensive travelogue. And it was important that we always made sure the characters and the story worked. And all this, we would try different things. We'd try outrageous takes, and then it turned out that the simplest things were usually the best, which was kind of,
Look at him. And sword.
Baiting a ring! Rocker!
Excited. Action. Shot. Oh, man. Cut. And cut. Good. Cut.
Gary, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm beginning to believe. I always thought my subconscious would go for the more demure type. Who is that? Mighty Mouse?
Cut.
it was so much fun. I mean, they have those things, the rigs that flew me across the whole stage. It's incredible. It was scary the first time they took me up, because they take you up and you kind of go up and And you're going, oh, this is fun. Okay, great, that's real good. Then the only thing I'd sometimes be afraid of is if I was upside down. Then you have to realize, wait, I'm not going to fall out of this. Then once you free that up.
Mark. Burning Robin. Action, Robin. I found my happy thought. I did. Whoa! Oh, I'm flying! I'm falling!
Cut. Okay, let's just do one.
Action. Do you know what my happy thought was?
Yes, sir? Before we do anything else, we're going to take a little strain on you and we're going to pull on this to make sure everything's okay.
Okay.
Take a little Randy, please. Guys, pull
Not bad. If I didn't have testicles, this would be a lot more fun.
all right, Robin?
Have a heart, Robin. What? Did I not do Popeye? Give me a break. 2 Academy nominations, but no trophy. He's got a couple of them. Can I look at one? How come the Oscars don't have genitals? Mr. Hoffman?
You know, while we're hanging around,
Robin Williams is now going up, ladies and gentlemen.
my people! My people!
I loved it. The reason I did it all was, it wasn't trying to out-macho the stuntman. That's just because I loved it.
Peter Pan, has it been 3 days?
You know, because it's totally safe, you're totally free to do it. And you can swoop and dive and do these barrel rolls. And when they did some of the shots where, you know, those are wild. Oh, they're dropping the camera straight down at you. That's a little frightening because it's like a, 800-pound camera rig. And you're like going, okay. Robin, you want to see how it works one time? Yeah, kind of. And this thing is...
Yeah, I'm Robin's stunt double, which basically has me just doing the real physical stuff because Robin loves to do the flying and he's very good at it. He loves to do the sword fighting. He'll do most all of the sword fighting. He spent a lot of time before the film working on it. And then he also spends as much time as he possibly can during the film when he has to work on it. So if it's, unless it's really, really something difficult or hairy, then he does it all.
The swords are real, so you have to be very safe. I mean, I had cuts, bangs all over my legs and my arms, and you'd miss, or somebody would, and the guys would go, God, I'm sorry. It's like, hey, you can't help it when you're fighting 8 guys in sequence, and you're kind of going from one to one, and then you whirl and meet the next one, and then you flip one over your head. It's like really finely choreographed. And in the end, it looks like total mayhem, but it's so choreographed so you don't stick someone. Oh, Bob, don't matter, sir, after what I did to Keith.
Boy, why don't we have good swords and good hooks?
Okay, now.
We want to be like Peter Pan. We don't want to grow up. Want to take it as far as we can.
Wait, got it. Great. Whoa, cut. Great. That's it, we got it. Let's put it on. Robin, great, we got it. Take that one. Make that one.
Well, it's always been a cross. Neverland is a place of the imagination, so it's not a physical three-dimensional place. It's not on Mars. It's not a moon around Jupiter. It is not, through some sort of a time warp. Neverland is not a three-dimensional physical place that you can find on a map. Neverland is a figment of a great novelist's imagination. And so Neverland is second star to the right and straight until morning. That was the poetry of Barrie. He was able to tell you where Neverland was, and at the same time give you no clue as to where Neverland was or is.
A lot. His imagination. And his imagination doesn't stop. In other words, he's like a guy who gives you a kaleidoscope. Says, when you're a kid, you have those kaleidoscopes and you turn it around until you get a really neat one. And then you hold it steady and you just take it to your friend and you say, here, check this out. So he's always doing it. He'd give you this one. And once you said, yeah, that's great. And then he says, see that? Now he tilts it. And then you say, see that? And that's what it's like working with him.
Wow. Wow, I want that copy. I want just pull it out and develop it and give me that. That's great.
But that's true. That's true. Do you like that? That's good, Stephen.
I
now
like
check
that.
this one out.
Okay. So then when he gets away from you, he's not good on you, like where Charlie is now.
Gentlemen, thank you, you stupid, sorry, parasitic sacks of entrails. Revenge is mine. No, leave the hook! And I baited that hook. And now I am proud to announce we have his children. Finally, I am going to kill Peter Pan, that cocky boy who cut off my hand and fed it to the crocodile. And who killed that cunning crocodile? Who stuffed him? Who made him into a quiet clock? And who went to the other world and stole Pan's children? And who didn't believe I could do it? Who doubted me? Who amongst us does not belong? Someone here does not belong. Stranger amongst loyal, I will weed you out. You!
Cut. Good. Okay, great. Good take. Print. Great take. Good.
I never said to myself, is he the ultimate villain? I never thought of him as a villain. I prefer never to think of people that I have to play in terms where I have to judge them.
I want you.
You got me.
Change my mind, then, and boom, boom. Change my mind, then, and boom. I'm going home, back to Eton.
So sad when a great mind goes. Please help the United Caucasian College Fund. Yes, the same man who won several Oscars running away in a wig and false teeth. I thought, and heels too. Where is he going? Maybe to a bar. We don't know. He's on his way. But if you send money now, that's right, 1-800-HOOK. 1-800-HOOK. Please help Dustin, our special wonderful person. He'll be back if you send the cash. Thanks.
And I hate living in this flawed body. And I hate Peter Pan.
So Dustin really doesn't do a lot of planning. I thought Dustin did a lot of homework, a lot of planning. Dustin likes to sort of improvise his way into the character, although we don't shoot the improvisations. But he tries the character on for size, and it takes 4 or 5 or 6 days of shooting the character before I think Dustin has a fix on who he's playing.
When everything's on, when it looks like you're saving on a cocked head like...
Let's make a list of these. You can read the list off. Here's the list. Your left arm is dead and hangs lifeless to the side. Boom. Glare with your good eye. Boom. Your left foot is crippled and turned inward. Boom.
Walk forward.
No, cock your head. He's already walking. Cock your head. Boom. And this he's already walking forward. Now growl.
No drool?
No. Then he says, now drool. Crack your mouth and drool. Crack your mouth and drool. And it just comes out.
Okay.
Okay. Now growl. No, growl.
R.
Do you want to die? Growl! Ah! Good. And that's just when the guy has to hit him right there. Ah! And the guy goes, ah! You know, and Robin, on the other hand, really is just goes with it. I mean, he just goes with it. He's extremely collaborative as an actor with a director, as Dustin is. I mean, Dustin's amazingly collaborative. And Robin pretty much puts all of his faith into the director in as a guide.
Brimstone and gall, say that again, and I'll cast anchor in you. I'm Captain James Hook of the Jolly Roger. Smee!
Oh, the cleverness of me! Think what great adventures we had, didn't we?
I think Robin Williams is a lot closer to Peter Pan than I ever was or am currently. And so I don't think with great effort the part of Hook where Robin plays Peter Pan was any kind of a problem for him. I think the problem for Robin, and it was a very creative challenge which he mastered brilliantly, was the character he plays, Peter Panning, who is the antithesis of Peter Pan, henceforth the antithesis of Robin Williams.
Tink. Is that you? Are you sick? Hey.
Good, cut. Originally, I mean 7 years ago when I first decided to do a Peter Pan story, and 7 years ago it was going to be, you know, sort of a live-action version of the Disney animated version, a little more respectful of the J.M. Barrie play than the Disney version was, but no less, you know, spectacular and fanciful. What really got me wanting to do that was this whole idea that this is a story about a boy who never wanted to grow up. And there are so many of us who don't want to grow up, and inexorably we do. And there's so many of us who have grown up and who have forgotten that we were ever children. And thematically, I have touched on the subject a lot of times in my movies. I mean, I'm starting to see an embrace as a virtue, not as a sort of a stale repeat, that I do like this theme in a lot of the movies I make, trying to find, you know, the child inside the grown-up. And I've just always been very attracted to that theme. E.T. is a celebration of that theme. E.T. in a way is my first Peter Pan. Close it. Simple. Never close it. Never close it. Never close it. Just never close it. Yeah. And take a moment there. Never close it. And take.
What did I tell you about this window? Never, ever close it.
But Peter Banning is a state of mind. You have to understand, Peter Banning is not just a man that works too hard. Peter Banning is a man who's forgotten how to live. He's forgotten how to have fun, to enjoy his life. He's a man who has no imagination. And the twist on this story is he once had imagination personified. He once was the imagination, being the Pan, when he was 12 years old, 12, 13 years old. When he came and he grew up, he lost his imagination and he became sort of face in the crowd.
You're an attorney, but I hope to God he's better than me. Who are you? I'm Peter Pan. Pan Banning, attorney at law. Those are my...
Okay. I don't think
All right, now, where am I?
And, you know, all Stephen really said to do his best to prepare me was that it's going to be very lonely, being this small, and extremely difficult.
You're right, yeah, and it's cute. Consider urgency here. Think really urgent.
But this is Neverland. You're not dreaming. Now say it.
I can't. I can't.
Who am I? Say it.
I can't say it.
Why?
If I say it, then you exist.
Well, all the oversized sets were great. I mean, having to make things to a scale to make me look that small but it was great because then, you know, I'd be on a table, a huge table with vegetables so big that I looked really tiny. And I told Stephen he would have saved a lot of money if he'd hired a shorter actress.
You know, the smile at the end is good. It's fun.
Come on, Rufio, give him a chance. Come on, Ruby. Yeah, come on, give him a chance.
But it's interesting. I mean, I think Robin's task was just as difficult in that he had to always be looking at this fairy, but in an even more difficult situation, me flying around, and he has to watch me and make sure that, he's really watching me. In fact, there's nothing there. So to watch this person flying around your face like this.
Badly raised child, slug-eating worm.
Come on, Peter, you can do better than that. You want a grape?
Because she glows, they'd have to have a light source that would change and move all around. And you'd be looking one time. Also, if she's flying fast, I would have to
talk like this, make really slow movements, and the light would move around my head at normal speed.
And then when they speed up, she's going around like this, and I'd have to loop my lines. And that's what I like that.
Down. Up. Okay, guys, we missed it.
Cut.
Maggie, Peter Pan's daughter.
How do you end up in Neverland?
Hook captures us so he can get Pan.
So he captures you and...
He captures me and Jack, and then, because what happens is, he thinks that if he captures the kids, that he can get Pan to come and rescue them, and then he'll get Pan to kill. Every night, because she loves us very much.
Oh, she loves you very much. Isn't that the... Yes. Love you? No, child. Your mother reads to you every night in order to stupefy you into sleep, so that she and Daddy can sit down for 3 measly minutes without you and your mindless, inexhaustible, unstoppable, repetitive, and nagging demands. He hit my bear, she took my toy, give me a cookie, I want a potty, I want to stay up, I want, me, mine, now!
And I was just interested because I didn't think it was likely that I would be right for Wendy. But then when I discovered that Wendy was 92, I managed to get my head around a completely different idea.
Climb up into all different spots up on the wharf, and this is where they prepare to board the pirate ship for the battle. And when Robin yells bang ring, all the Lost Boys, we've arranged lines. We have altogether, I believe, 32 lines strung. Some are on pneumatic devices, which literally ratchet the guys off the wharf and bring them onto the ship, and the others are various types of swinging and descending lines. So the boys will swing in, and they land all over from the bow all the way to midships and attack the pirates.
Come on, Ray, wake up in there, please.
Background. Tony, count it off.
That's good, okay.
We work for many hours. All on the camera. You give film now. For safety of us all. You give a film. Give a film now. Focus on this. Ladies and gentlemen, to the best crew in the world, to the greatest pirates on the 7 seas, to the greatest actors I've ever worked with,
Cut! Good. All right, all right. Every parent should do this.
Before we do anything else, we're going to take a little strain on you and we're going to pull on this to make sure everything's okay.
Okay.
Take a little Randy, please. Guys, pull it back.
Not bad. If I didn't have testicles, this would be a lot more fun.
Have a heart, Robin. What? Did I not do Popeye? Give me a break! 2 Academy nominations, but no trophy! He's got a couple of them. Can I look at one? How come the Oscars don't have talent?
Mr. Hoffman? You know, while we're hanging around,
Robin Williams is now going up, ladies and gentlemen.
my people!
Brimstone and gall, said it again, and I'll cast anchor in you. I'm Captain James Hook of the Jolly Roger. Me!
Oh, the cleverness of me! Think what great adventures we had, didn't we?
Never close it, never close it. Never close it. Never close it. Yeah. Take a moment there. Never close it.
What did I tell you about this window? Never, ever close it.
Yeah, I can say go on a cop's head like that.
Let's take a list. Read the list off. Here's the list. Your left arm is dead and hangs wide to the side. Boom. Glare with your good eye. Boom. Your left foot is crippled and turned inward. Boom. Cock your head. He's already walking. Cock your head. Boom. And this is only walking forward. Now growl.
No, drool?
No. Then he says, now drool. Crack your mouth and drool. Crack your mouth and drool. Comes out. Okay. Now growl.
We were many hours. Oh, look at the camera. You keep film now. Safety of us all. You give a view. I want you.
You got me.
Change my mind, and boom, change my mind, and boom. I'm going home, back to Eton.
You know sad when a great mind goes. Please help the United Caucasian College Fund. Yes, the same man who won several Oscars running away in a wig and false teeth. And heels too. Where is he going? Maybe to a bar. We don't know. He's on his way. But if you send money now, that's right, 1-800-HOOK. 1-800-HOOK. Please help Justin, our special wonderful person. He'll be back if you send the cash. Thanks.
And action! Cut, wait. Captain Hook thanks a great move.
Ladies and gentlemen, to the best crew in the world, to the greatest pirates on the 7 seas, to the greatest actors I've ever worked with,
McNugget buddies, you can stop hiding now. Ah, the clock.
They're not in here.
Game's over. Listen. Aha! Tired of playing hide and seek?
Hide and seek? We thought you said hide and sleep. Dear me.
Now a plan can be a trip to Neverland, because with McDonald's Hook Happy Meal, you get Peter Pan, Hook, a Lost Boy Squirter, or a mermaid.
When will you be done? Never.
Hook Happy Meal.
Hook had its US premiere on December 8th, 1991 in Hollywood, California. The UK had a royal premiere on April 7th, 1992 in aid of Great Ormond Street's hospital.
It was a night for glamour, of seeing and being seen. Queues of people waited outside the Odeon Leicester Square as celebrities arrived and made their way up the carpeted stairway for tonight's Raw premiere. The Princess of Wales, with Prince Harry and William, arrived shortly after 7:45. In the foyer there was the usual shaking of hands, meeting stars including Dustin Hoffman, Robin Williams and Bob Hoskins.
I had a great time. I had a wonderful time making it, but, you know, how it goes down, I don't know. Well, it's Spielberg's Peter Pan. It's got to be good, isn't it? I'll see you.
There's something wonderful about it, especially if you take your kids, you know, and they keep going.
Look at this. Land.
So it's something, if you go with your family, it's great.
Now a lot of money's going to the Great Ormond Street Hospital for
I
Children.
went the other day, it's amazing. It's great to see it going to someplace right away, too. That's what makes it really important. You know, when you see the kids, you go, this is great.
For like every play, film or book that's based on the Peter Pan tale, all royalties from Hook will go to the Great Ormond Street Hospital for sick children. The money was bequeathed by the author of the original Peter Pan story, J.M. Barrie. Hook has already grossed £90 million in America, set to make a mint here too. Great Ormond Street will receive £300,000 from tonight. On top of that, there's the $500,000 from TriStar Pictures for the right to make the movie.
Hi, kids. You want to hear my talking dog?
What's he say, Ronald?
Spot, what's on top of a house? Ruff. How does sandpaper feel? Rough.
But Ronald, any dog can say that.
Well, they were easy questions. Who's the scurviest pirate of them all? Now there's McDonald's Hook Happy Meal with toys based on the new movie. There's a mermaid that swims or a Lost Boy Squirter, one bath toy. Yeah! With each Happy Meal you buy.
The film, full of typical Spielberg sentiment and special effects, is really a message movie in disguise. It begins with the question, what if Peter Pan grew up and became sort of a jerk?
Let's fly!
Oh my God, where are we going?
To Neverland.
Peter Banning, the Wall Street jerk, you know, who doesn't have time for his kids. He's really into his career, and he breaks a lot of promises.
Talk to him. Jack, next season I'm coming to 6 games, I promise.
Be sure to buy enough videotape.
Everybody has that part of themselves where they try and, you can do it by working to avoid dealing with something, you know. Sometimes you can immerse yourself and just be working so hard that you never have time to stop. Jack, my word is my bond.
You junk bond.
And I've done that. And I mean, a little bit of it, my father he was always off working. I would like to have seen him more, but couldn't help it, he was working. I would have traded the wonderful toys he brought back for just a couple of days.
What the hell's the matter with you? When are you going to stop acting like a child?
I am a child.
Grow up.
The timing is usually really, really off because the kids need you desperately when you need to succeed desperately.
Have you ever gone through a period where you just were so single-minded that you lost touch with what was important?
Constantly. I think all three of us were autobiographical in that sense, with the Peter Banning character, with the Robin Williams character. You can't be in this kind of work and not find that you're sacrificing a regular life.
Oh,
a big you. I guess it's not bad that you're big. You were always bigger than me. But now, maybe this means to be twice so much fun.
Oh no. It's finally happened. I'm having a total nervous breakdown.
We're all dads, and and we all have a lot of fun and responsibility at home, and we're all trying to find that midway point between fun and responsibility.
Come on, Peter, follow me and all will be well.
Oh my God, where are we going?
Save your children, of course.
How do you know about my kids?
Everybody knows. Captain Hook's got them, and you've got to fight them. Let's fly!
Isn't childhood wonderful? And I ask a lot of kids going, no! It's scary and strange and hormones. But there's, a lot going on.
No, it's all right. Everything's going down. All right, Daddy's here. Mr. Hook, I want those kids out of that net in less than 1 minute, or you better get an attorney and hope to God he's better than me.
Could he have existed if we hadn't have gone through the 80s?
No, he needed the whole yuppie thing, and he had to have a couple decades of preparation, to entitle him to a shot at his recaptured youth.
Who are you? I'm Peter Panning, attorney at law. Those are my children, and I want them back.
Those are your
children.
These are your children.
Yes, they are.
And you're
Peter.
You're Peter.
Yes.
You're Peter.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You're Peter.
Yes. Is there an echo in here? Yes.
My great and worthy opponent.
Enjoy being a kid while you are a kid, because then you'll be better as an adult, and then enjoy being an adult.
It's basically the simple human concept of just be aware of them. Don't miss it.
You look beautiful. What's the occasion?
You are. It's a welcome home party.
For what? I have to ask someday for what, but I'll ask that later.
Here you are being interviewed, Stephen, and you're directing already.
Yes, already. I can't. It's in the system. Can't get rid of it.
I guess everything you do at home, do you direct your wife?
No, I let go when I walked through the front door. I really sort of hit my mark, and and get into the right light that they want me to get into, and I kind of take direction from my family. So I'm only a director by day, and by night I'm a movable force.
Stephen, as I looked at Hook, and I must tell you that this is the movie I've looked forward to all year, Hook. I just was excited at the thought of it. And as I sat there last night looking at the picture, I thought, what a colossal picture. I mean, it worries me that we're never going to get to see this kind of picture again, because Hollywood says they're cutting back and, they're just not into big budget things. If it were, in fact, being presented today, do you think you'd get a green light?
Yeah, I think with the elements involved, with me and Dustin and Julia and Robin, we would. But this is sort of an exception to a new rule in Hollywood, which is starting to say that let's pull everything back and find stories to tell that don't take so much imagination, therefore so much money to bring them to the screen. And I sympathize with that, but I also feel sad for myself because I have a big appetite. And when I was given the opportunity to do a version of the Peter Pan legend, I mean, I knew that I wanted to throw everything into the soup. I didn't just want to do a little, a very small movie next to a lagoon with one waterfall, and that's it. I wanted not to disappoint people, and people have expectations about Neverland. And they always have. They have their own expectations about what Neverland should look like. And I had my vision of Neverland. And I was just real thankful that the studio backed me on our sort of Robin, Dustin, the collective, collaboration.
But originally, the budget was not what it turned out to be, was it?
No, we went way over because the film was so complicated logistically to make that it's the first film that I've gone this far over in almost a decade. And but I'm proud of what's there, although I'm not proud of how much it took to get it up there. It was just much more difficult than any of us, and we're all professionals, and we're all supposed to know what things are going to cost. But this was even beyond the scope of my imagination when I first started, because I kept finding different things I wanted to do with the movie as I was making the movie, and scenes were written a week before they were shot, And the movie kind of told its own story as we were making the film. The film kind of helped itself get made.
Is it then the most difficult picture you've ever made?
No, it's not. Jaws was the most difficult picture I've ever made. Logistically, because it was on the ocean, basically, because the whole film was on the ocean. Special effects on the water is insane. It's a nightmare. At least I kept saying, this isn't as hard as Jaws. Every day I'd say, you know, this is hard, but it's not on the water. At least Neverland isn't on the water. Even though the pirate ship is in water, it's only 3 feet deep. So it was like, I kept saying, well, every day when I thought I was at my breaking point, I kept looking back and I would say, it's not as hard as Jaws, but of course I was younger then. You know, I had a higher, you know, level of tolerance.
See, as I look at it, and all those children and little boys that age can just, you know, give you 9 kinds of hell.
Yeah, ask thousands of American teachers, and you know.
So, you know, what did you do? Did you have a chair and a whip, or what did you do?
Oh, I had a good behavior incentive that every week I would give out like a cassette of a hot movie that was just out on video, and I would give it to the best behaved Lost Boy of the week, just trying to get everybody to behave better. You know, and we'd all sign our name on the cassette and announce the winner. There were all sorts of tricks that I pulled, but these were very young kids who hadn't acted. These were real kids. These weren't like actor-type kids. I wanted children's children to be Lost Boys, and it just took a little more work, a little more effort to work with somebody new as opposed to somebody more experienced.
And how would you get Dustin and Robin to behave?
They always behaved. I mean, Robin, the only way Robin misbehaved was he was just told so many jokes. He just had, we'd be doing a tough sit-up and he'd think of a funny thought, and you know, with Robin, if the crew laughs once, he does 7 minutes. Sometimes there were these large 7 to 10 minute pauses while we just sat down and listened and laughed, and then went back to work again.
That's why you went over budget.
There we go. Yeah. Laughter made me spend so much money on Hook.
Take it out of Robin's points. Let's see, Robin, you cost me 10 minutes here, 2 hours.
All right, Robin,
there.
that's $10 million from your end. Thank you very much. You know, but he was great to work with, and Dustin was wonderful. And I had a dream to work with both people. You know, I almost worked with Robin 2 years ago on a project, and I almost came very close to working with Dustin on Rain Man. So we've had some real nice near misses, and this was a nice sort of film for all of us to collaborate on.
What do you think you will remember most 15 years from now about doing Hook?
All the friends that I made on the movie. You know, I think I made more friends on this movie than I've ever made on any movie before. And how I think these friends are going to be like lasting friendships for a long, long, long time. How we all have kids, and our kids all seem to come into the world at the same time. Robin just had a baby. I'm having a baby in February. And it was just, every day I said, you know, one of the nicest things about this experience for me is that I'm going to know these guys for the rest of my life. And that was exciting.
Well, and I think for all of us, the picture will be around and be seen year after year after year. You've made a classic.
Thank you.
Stephen, wonderful to see you again.
See you
and
too.
congratulations, Hook. Magnificent picture.
Thank you very much. Say hello to my friends in Texas.
Stephen, in the clips, will we get to see some of Robin?
Really? And I'll take
Go ahead.
I'm going to have so much fun taking my children to this. I'm really into taking my kids to the movies these days with Beauty and the Beast and some of the other movies that are out, and we're going to have a good time in this one. And does that make you feel good as an actor to know that you're going to have a lot of little children and other people just really excited about seeing you?
Well, yeah, I want my own kids to see it as badly as... How old are yours?
11 and 6.
Yeah, we have, living at the house, we have 4, 7, 8, and 10, so it's similar. But I can't wait for my kids to see it.
Are they going to be scared that you're Captain Hook?
I don't think so. I've done it so much at home. I've scared them so much at home already.
Did you ever come home dressed up as Captain Hook?
No, but they came on the set. I mean, I would act like Captain Hook at home. But they saw me shoot scenes, and in fact, 2 of my kids are in the movie. 1 was cut. The 4-year-old never got in. But my son Max, who's 7, is Peter Pan as a little boy looking in the window. If you remember that little kid looking, that's Max. And my 10-year-old Jake is one of the baseball players at the beginning.
Do your children have really any concept of what you do for a living? Do they have that? They understand it?
Yes. I don't know about the 4-year-old. She's probably just beginning to understand. The other ones do it.
I mean, it really is a high concept that you're an actor, you know, to explain to a child that you pretend to be other people and get paid for that as a living, and you make people laugh or you make people cry. It is a rather high concept, I think, for children to think about.
Or it's easier for them to understand because they do it every day. I mean, it's no different than what they do. I guess the high concept is of getting paid for it. But it is close to what they do every day. It's the first thing we do as human beings, I guess. One of the first things we do is that we pretend at 2, 3 years of age, you know, I'm the mommy, you're the daddy. I mean, it's to be someone else.
When you go out and search for a character and you find him on the page, what kind of experience is it for you to make that person on the page come to life? Is it stressful? Is it fretful? Is it nerve-wracking?
It's the worst. It's very exciting, but it's the worst because you're making a movie. Once you start to shoot, you have to commit it to celluloid, and it's very hard to get them to do reshoots. If you're in a play and you're rehearsing, you're building a character, and if you're out of town, you're still building a character. In fact, actors will say to other actors, they'll say, I'm going to come see it your opening, and say, don't wait 3 months, because it'll take me 3 months to really get into it. But you can't do that in a movie, because, you know, 3 months later, you're doing such a different character than you started out doing. So and you're not getting any rehearsal usually in movies. So it's such a, you know, you find sneaky ways of rehearsing. I like to screen test makeup and costumes with sound, so I can try the character out, before we start shooting. I like to read with the actors that are going to be in the movie because it's a chance to rehearse.
Think you worry too much?
No, I failed enough times to know that my worrying has a basis.
I was going to say, do you have much of a feeling, because you've obviously hit so many home runs, I can ask this question, when something is a stinker, or do you not know it until it just turns out to be a stinker?
No,
you just have that and you're committed to it and say, okay, we're going to get through this, you know?
Yeah, the latter. I've never known myself to be in a film experience that I knew we were in trouble and that I was wrong about. Conversely, you don't know how good a movie is going to be. You know, in critic screenings, I was on the lot shooting this movie Hero last night, and on the way out I heard that you guys were seeing it at the Cary Grant, and I just snuck in to see a piece of it. And I was aware once again of how frightening they are, because you feel the film is so vulnerable, because most of the people there are critics or reviewers, and first of all, they're not there with their kids, especially on a movie like this.
It makes a difference. And
they're not there with friends, they're there by themselves, they're working, they're sitting with competitors. It's a kind of, each one is in isolation, so it's not really a kinetic audience. And I remember even Rain Man, when I snuck in the back when the 300 critics were seeing it, you thought it was a turkey. I mean, there was no reaction, there was nothing. It was like, it's quite frightening, you know. So you never know. I mean, the movies that you think are wonderful, you know, can turn out and not work. There's no way of knowing if it's gonna hit or not.
You know, I was going back and thinking about my favorite Dustin Hoffman movies and going through the whole list. And you know what scene comes to me that's the most striking scene in all the movies that you've done, and it's really a little bit odd? It's the dental scene in Marathon Man. That is the scariest scene that I've ever seen, next to the alien jumping out of the chest. That scene bothered me more than any scene I've ever seen in a film.
Do you have good teeth?
Is it safe? You know, that whole deal, is it safe? Which is so intense.
Well, that was Olivier, and I was very conscious of working with a great actor. And at one point I told myself, if I can make him think that he really hurt me, because he was very nervous about using this one instrument that had a point on it. And he was very, very aware of it. He says, now tell me I don't want to hurt you, whatever, you know. Because we had to fake it that he's prodding around it, and at one point he jabs and I have to go like, you know, he went right through the cavity. And I told myself, maybe I can just find a way to do this once where I make him think that he really slipped. And it worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
I had to leave. I came back in.
Yeah, I know that the Dental Association tried to bar the opening of the film, or tried to boycott it when we opened.
Well, it was something else. It's great acting. Thank you for this
Oh,
movie, though. It's a classic.
oh, thank you. Well,
Really
thanks,
is a classic.
thanks,
Not too many times you can tell somebody.
Thanks, Spielberg.
Right,
Thank you. I love.
Palladium 100. And I said, you'll be there, God willing, I will.
He's 96 now.
Yeah. Dustin, I've been looking forward to this day for a long time because of all the films coming out this year. Hook was the one that I said, hey, that's got to be something. And it is.
It fulfilled your expectations?
Oh, more so, Dustin, because I knew it would be lavish, but I don't know the last time I've seen a film so lavish. Do you?
No. And it's funny because the crew knew it while they were making it. I think the people, the whole town knew it. People weren't visiting the sets just because they were beautiful or lavish, but because there was something going on that was, which I kept hearing was like old-time movie making, and you won't see it again. And there was just an energy on every department level. They were saying, oh, this is the one to do your best on. And there was that kind of almost competitiveness, you know, where the sound department and the makeup department and the hair department and the cinematography department and the art department, everyone was saying, oh, let me show you what I can do. And you had that, there was that feeling of energy on the set.
Several weeks ago, a story came out that said your role model for Captain Hook in this movie was William F. Buckley. Now, I want to know if you've heard from William F. Buckley about that.
Not personally. I did try to call him once. He really wasn't my role model. It was taken a little bit out of context. I did an interview.
Your car's here, Mr. Hartman. You want me to park it out back?
Rochester. Get in here.
Don't tell him. Tried to do it. Went and bought some socks at Penny's. Seemed like a good idea.
Come in, Robin.
I'll
come
be
in.
Buckley. I'll interview you. You want to be George Bush?
Sit down.
I understand. Now, you're running for president again in 1992.
Had a good idea, trying to carry it out. Wish I had your tongue. Maybe I'd be better off. Trying to lose Dan. Good boy, just doesn't have a halfway there. Basically look at him, realize Darwin was wrong. Not that I can't help it, not that I... She's looking at me like, he's a Texas boy. Don't say that. Just because he wears topsiders, he's truly a cowboy. Never be afraid of him. Yippee-yi-yoy. Come on back. Almost done, Daddy. It's going well. Just keep the height. Keep the height. It's much larger than Warren. You're doing good. Yes! Yes!
Doesn't count on the time.
Keep rolling, keep rolling. Now, this is what you lived with on the set, isn't it?
Yes. I just said you couldn't, want someone better to work with. You don't want to have to raise him in your house, but he's great to work with. That's one side of Robin.
What's the other side? Do I dare ask?
The opposite.
I know, because I've seen him serious, and he can be
very introspective and very shy, and not without great insecurity and great vulnerability, and you just want to hug him because he gets so scared sometimes, like I guess any great artist should.
You get scared.
Yeah.
Do you really?
Well, sure, because...
Were you scared of doing Hook?
Well, you're always scared because it's not like a play. You can't rehearse. You can't try it out of town. You can't get in, excuse me, you can't get into the part and, tell your fellow actors, don't come opening night, come in 3 months when I've, got it down. A movie, you're just suddenly shooting and there's whatever you do is on the screen and you've got to match that for the next 4 months. You can't get that much better in a part because it won't match. So you're always scared because you're just jumping in. But this project was filled with talent, so we were all scared together, but we all helped each other. It's an unusual experience. I hadn't come across it before, and I just saw the film. And I told the people who did the hair and the makeup and the sound that are now working with me on another film I'm doing, because they haven't seen it yet, I said, your best work's up there. Everybody's best work is on the screen. I mean, it's rare that you do a film where you have that kind of, where everything just clicks. Well, you saw it. I don't know when you're going to see stuff like that again, where every department comes together to make that kind of a, you know, a whole. It's a nice ride, I think, this movie.
Dustin, what is the story now about, originally the hook was on the left hand?
Yeah, as I understand it, he had the hook on his right hand originally, the character is written, and I'm right-handed. So I tried to do that, but I had to learn to fence. And since I'm right-handed and I don't know how to fence, to learn how to fence with the left hand was, I wasn't going to be able to do it. So in the 11th hour, I said, the purists in England will have to forgive me. I put the hook on my left hand and learned to fence with my right hand, barely, but better than I would have been, you know, if I was doing it with my left hand.
But that was before you started any filming.
Sure.
But then that necessitated a lot of stuff, didn't it, to make that change? Didn't it?
No.
No, not really?
I read that, but no, didn't. Not really. I didn't have that many costumes. I had basically one costume that I wore in the whole movie. You know.
Dustin, when you were a child, what was your favorite story?
I didn't grow up with stories. We had an unusual house. I don't remember reading or seeing children's books. I know I went to see Bambi, and Bambi affected me greatly. I connected a lot with Pinocchio for obvious reasons. I have a big nose, plus I lie a lot.
I was waiting for you to explain.
And the yearling affected me a lot, Gregory Peck and that boy. And I got a little older, I still say one of the great, it's not a children's movie, but one of the great pubescent films I've ever seen was Member of the Wedding, Julie Harris in that part of like an 11 or 12-year-old girl. God, what a great performance that was. I liked Huey a lot, of Huey, Dewey, and Louie. I connected a lot with Huey for some reason. A lot of people won't remember Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Well, tell them in case they don't.
You know those characters with Donald, right? Donald's nephews, Donald Duck's nephews. Yeah, Huey. I identified with
Did Huey do anything special?
I can't even remember. I know that Huey and I were solid.
Well, maybe.
I like Bugs Bunny. I'd want to be Bugs, you know, dress up time. Never wanted to be Porky Pig. I had my suspicions about Porky. Elmer Fudd was interesting, but no. Bugs. Bugs was a horny little devil. I know a good joke about that.
Can you tell it on television?
Which television is this? There's these two ladies who never married, you know, and they live to be like 90 years old, and they've been together for 40 or 50 years, and they know they're getting up there, and Gertrude says to Margaret, now, Margaret, you know I'm going to die before you, because not been feeling well lately, and when I go, dear, we've had a wonderful life together. Margaret, I want you to try hard to communicate with me, because I know you will be able to connect. There's just too much energy and love between us all these years for us not to be able to connect, and Margaret promises that she will. And certainly the day comes when Gertrude dies, and every day after that, Margaret keeps saying, Gertrude, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And after about 3 weeks, she connects, and she says, Gertrude, can you hear me? And Gertrude says, yes, Margaret, I can, and I'm here, and it's wonderful. And Margaret says, what is it like? She says, oh, nothing you ever would expect. She says, I get up in the morning and I have the most wonderful little breakfast, and then I just make love until lunchtime, and then I have a little nibble, and then I just make love until dinner, and I have another nibble, then I go to sleep. I wake up during the night, make love 3 or 4 times during the night. This goes on day in and day out, just making love and just having a little breakfast, lunch, or dinner, nibbling around, and just wonderful. She says, is that what heaven's like? She says, what do you mean heaven? I'm a bunny rabbit in Arizona.
Dustin, we just closed down the network.
Can't tell that one.
Dustin, they have their...
It's a great pleasure to welcome back to Cinema Showcase one of the world's greatest filmmakers, Mr. Steven Spielberg. Steven, thank you for taking this time out. It's very good to see you again.
Good to be here.
Thank you. Is it fair to say, I hate to use the term obsession, but is it fair to say that you've long had an obsession to bring Peter Pan to the screen?
Well, you know, I've had it in my life for so long. I had to put it somewhere. So the screen was the next stop for it, I imagine.
Because I remember reading all kinds of reports around the time of E.T. that Peter Pan might be your next project or whatever.
That's true.
But it's taken this long to find what, just the proper script or what?
Well, not even the proper script so much. It took a lot of time to find a new twist on the classic material, because for a while I was developing the actual, you know, Peter Pan story from the book and the play, with permission from the Children's Hospital in London. And actually, I got more involved with the Children's Hospital in London at that time. I was very moved by my experience of touring the hospital than I really did with Peter Pan. And when my son was born, I sort of became Mr. Darling to a little Peter Pan, and put the project behind me and didn't even think about it for a while. And then this new idea came along from the perspective of what if Peter Pan grows up? He's 40 years old, he doesn't remember that he was ever Peter Pan, and he has to go back to save his kids. And I thought, well, that's a really nice approach in the 90s to revisit Neverland, let it be a traditional Neverland, but let's revisit it from a modern perspective, a modern point of view.
Isn't it astonishing when you think about it, the incredible imagination that Sir James and Barrie had in creating all of these incredible characters?
And it all came from his life.
Yeah.
You know, what's interesting about Peter Pan, you know, and the reason he was the boy who was afraid to grow up was simply because his mother loved his brother more than she loved J.M. Barrie. And when the brother died, tragically, the mother was absolutely, she was out of her mind with grief. And J.M. Barrie even put on his deceased brother's clothes and pretended for a while to be his brother, and in a way had to arrest his growing up to be the son to the mom that she always loved better than J.M. Barrie himself. And I think a lot of that pain and torture inspired, you know, Peter Pan.
Exactly. And didn't he end up adopting 4 or 5?
Yes, he did, from another family, making the father very jealous, making the father of that family extremely competitive. And then when the father died of cancer, Barrie raised those children and supported them financially throughout their lives.
And how did it come to be that all or a large portion of the proceeds, whenever Peter Pan is done on stage, go to the hospital for sick children in London?
It was the hospital that Barrie was very close to, and it's the hospital in whose rights Peter Pan was handed. Barrie just gave the hospital all the rights to his writings, and it became his favorite charity.
Your film Hook has, first of all, it's one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen. Visually, it's incredibly striking, and it's directed with just an amazing amount of imagination. And I say this certainly without flattery, because you know from our past exchanges that I mean this. The direction's just filled with imagination.
Thank you.
And these sets, which are some of the most elaborate I've ever seen, I know were constructed on the fabled MGM sound stages. What was the most difficult set to work with?
The pirate ship, because it was just very big. It was a full-size pirate ship indoors, and with a full-size pier or wharf. And the difficulty, of course, was, it was interesting. I knew how big these sets were when I would every morning get out of breath between the walk from the main door up all these flights of stairs behind the scenes, wooden stairs everywhere, always hitting my head on some low overhanging beam. And by the time I got up the gang way onto the Jolly Roger itself, then I had to walk 2 more flights to where Long Tom, the great gun, was. You know, we were all panting. I was in pretty good shape during the movie too. We were all kind of out of breath. That's how large. That's when I finally said these are big sets.
Yeah.
And they were difficult to light because, you know, we had to make it look like we were outdoors.
Yeah. Now you're working on this film with Dean Cundy.
Yes.
And previously you've worked quite a few times with Ellen Davio. Is there any reason why you chose to work with a different cinematographer?
No, it was just time for a change, and I thought it was time for a change. I felt that Dean, through my experience with him on the Roger Rabbit film, which he photographed, and also the 3 Back to the Futures, you know, for Bob Zemeckis that our company produced, I felt that Dean really had an old Hollywood kind of a really old
Right.
Hollywood sensibility, that he would know how to make Hook look like a show, even more than a film. And he would really know how to light sets that large, because he had done some remarkable work with Zemeckis prior to this.
Explain a bit, if you would, about your remarkable collaboration with John Williams. Williams' music adds so much to Hook, as indeed his music has to your films.
Yeah, he's great. Well, just that, you know, I had first heard John's music when I saw a movie when I was a kid called The Reavers and the Cowboys, and I heard the Cowboys score and I said, wow, that's as good as Aaron Copland. I was a big fan of Aaron Copland as a kid growing up with a classical musical background, because my family was into music. And I just remember wanting him to score my first film, Sugarland, and we've done every movie together except for Color Purple. But
What
everything
happened
else,
there?
Simply, Quincy Jones was one of the producers, and Quincy Jones was one of the original producers. Quincy, of course, and deservedly, you know, wanted to express his feelings as a producer through the music, and so Quincy did the music for Color Purple.
Well, I must tell you, if there aren't a lot of Oscars passed around for Hook, I'm going to be awfully disappointed. I think it's most deserving.
Thank you.
What's your next project?
I have two projects I'm doing right now. One is called Schindler's List, from the Thomas Keneally novel, and that's been a long time coming to fruition also. And then I'm doing a Michael Crichton book called Jurassic Park, which I don't start until November of next year, because we're actually building full-size dinosaurs, and this is
my word.
This is like a headache revisited. I flash back to Jaws, and I'm saying, oh, please work, you know, please work.
Well, again, my congratulations to you, and more than that, my thanks to you for Hook. This is a movie that's going to be around for generations to come.
No, that'd be wonderful.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank
What can turn a bath into a trip to Neverland?
Jeremy!
McDonald's Hook Happy Meal, based on a new movie. There's Peter Pan, a mermaid that swims, Hook himself, or a lost boy squirter. One with each $1.99 hamburger Happy Meal you buy your kids.
Hasta la vista, Hook. When will you be done? Never.
McDonald's Hook Happy Meal.
Is magnificent, the best holiday movie. Get ready for adventure, raves Gene Shalit. Steven Spielberg has scored another triumph. Robin Williams is glorious. And Dustin Hoffman is dynamite. Yes. Hook is pure joy.
I like it. I love it.
Rated PG. Now playing at a theater near you.
Hook opened to mixed reviews upon release, with many praising the sets and the soundtrack. With so many mixed or average reviews, the film became known as Peter Panned.
How far back can you remember, Peter?
I remember the hospital on Great Ormond Street. You work with orphans. You taught me to read. You arranged for the adoption by my American parents, Hank and Jane Banning.
That's Robin Williams as a grown-up Peter Pan, who in Steven Spielberg's Hook has aged and turned into a work-obsessed yuppie. He's the kind of high-tech guy who sends an employee to tape his kid's Little League game, and the kid gets ticked off.
Jack, next season I'm coming to 6 games, I promise.
Be sure to buy enough videotape.
Hey, Jack. My word is my bond.
Yeah, junk bond.
What the hell's the matter with you? When are you going to stop acting like a child?
I am a child.
That's a very cute setup to the picture, but the film starts to fall apart as Peter is about to go off to Never Never Land to recapture his youth and recapture his children taken by Captain Hook. Before he goes off, Tinkerbell, Julia Roberts, pays him a visit and notices the aging process. She doesn't have any good scenes in this picture. She's too small to be appreciated most of the time.
Oh, it is you. It is. A big you. I guess it's not bad that you're big. You're always bigger than me. But now, maybe this means to be twice as much fun.
Oh no. It's finally happened. I'm having a total nervous breakdown.
Come on, Peter, follow me and all will be well.
Oh my God, where are we going?
Save your children, of course.
Dustin Hoffman isn't special as Captain Hook. There's little menace to his characterization. He's kidding with this performance, and we never believe, as a result, that Peter is in jeopardy.
Who are you? I'm Peter Pan, attorney at law. Those are my children, and I want them back, please.
Those are your
children.
These are your children?
Yes, they are.
And you're
Peter?
You're Peter?
Yes.
You're Peter?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You're Peter?
Yes. Is there an echo in here? Yes.
The Never Never Land scenes include long passages with Peter and a group of little lost boys who are a disappointment. They're as boring as a Saturday morning TV cartoon lineup.
That ain't Peter Pan. He's fat.
There is a little magic later on when Peter returns from his adventures, but it's too little too late. Steven Spielberg, I'm afraid, may have grown up himself, because in this picture, I think he's so much better portraying adults now than he is kids. A surprising thumbs down, at least surprising to me based on my expectations for this picture on Hook.
And I give it thumbs down too. You know, there's a truism in Hollywood that at some point executives start making movies that are really their own life story. And here what you have is a guy who's very successful, surrounded by big business, but is told that he has to recapture his youth in order to be successful. And that may be the way that Steven Spielberg feels, and it may be the reason he made this story, which is unbelievably cumbersome in terms of explaining why an adult, Robin Williams, has to go back and become Peter Pan again, and then how he comes back after he's been Peter Pan. It's so complicated that you really have to ask, why didn't Spielberg just make Peter Pan? Then everybody would be happy.
You know, we interviewed him, I think it was a year and a half ago, and he had talked about a musical version of Peter Pan, and one thing this picture is really missing is music. I mean, I think that's an expectation that the audience has. Let me clarify what you're saying. You're saying that he needs a hit because his last couple pictures weren't big breakthroughs, and therefore, to be successful in some way, he has to go back and get that youthful quality that created E.T. and all
in a
those
sense. And you know, another thing that I really felt was disappointing here was Neverland itself.
That's the worst.
It looks like a really crummy movie set, and the colors are even wrong. It's all red and brown. It ought to be green. It's green and blue and magical and sparkling from the air. And you get there and it looks like they're in the middle of a drought, and it's all crowded with extras, and too many props and too much money, and it doesn't look good.
To those people who have said, but those pictures have been made, the cartoon series and Mary Martin and all that kind of stuff, I would say they could have made a modern Peter Pan. Make the Lost Boys a bunch of trainees in his corporate department. In other words, make it all modern in some way. I think by trying to do, I think what's happening here corporate-wise is hedging of bets. We'll do one story for the adults, and then we'll get a kid show audience picture in the middle with Neverland, and that part is a disaster.
It's pretty dreary.
Get ready for adventure, raves Gene Shalit. Steven Spielberg has scored another triumph. Hook is magnificent. The best holiday movie. I loved it. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested. Now playing.
Captain Hook will never miss one Coke. Keep it shut. The Lost Boys could be anywhere. Oh no! It's Captain Hook! The last Coke in Neverland!
From the movie of the year comes the soundtrack of the year, Hook. Featuring over an hour of compelling music from the legendary Academy Award-winning composer John Williams. Hook, the original motion picture soundtrack, out now on CD and cassette from Sony Music.
The film score was composed and conducted by John Williams. He was brought in at an early stage when Spielberg was considering making the film a musical.
Believe your eyes. Believe in fairies and lost boys. Find one pure, innocent thought and hold on to it. Because what used to make you happy will make you fly.
It's Peter Pan. Dustin Hoffman, Robin Williams, Julia Roberts, Bob Hoskins.
Peter Pan's my dad.
Hook. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested.
Look! It's a parachute from Hook. Wow. Let's fly! Tinkerbell! It's Peter Pan! Wow! Ew. Captain Hook!
Jenny?
Billy? The magic comes alive on video. Steven Spielberg's Hook, only $24.95. Rated PG.
The UK VHS release date for the movie was October 23rd, 1992, with the US release date sometime in the summer.
Captain Hook will never miss one Coke. Getting the shot. The Lost Boys could be anywhere. Oh no! It's them! Captain Hook! The last Coke in Neverland.
A video game based on the film and bearing the same name was released for the SNES in 1991. The game was released for additional game consoles in 1992. There was an arcade game released, so we'll have a look at that now, and then the SNES version.
Peter Pan!
Pan's battle sword.
Bang!
Against Hook's Tri-Hook.
Shake hands with this! Never! Bad form, bad breath. Face my dagger!
And the battle rages on. Hook accessories sold separately, new from Mattel. figures and attacker out sold separately. You put her out together. New from Mattel.